This is Paul Singh, the market speculator, with the trade report for Monday, November 9, 2015. SPY continues to consolidate here as it comes up to new highs. We got up to about almost 212 here, and the old high is close to 214. So we're getting there. A little bit of consolidation here. Now it's good that the intraday weakness has been bought, and we're closing towards the highs of the day. The past 2 days. That's a positive during this consolidation. It hasn't been a hard pullback. So these are all good things. And the other good thing, again, we've been talking about this, focusing on this. IWM, while it has not been leading going into the last couple of weeks, the last week and a half here has been leading the market. And again, SPY was down slightly and IWM is up 0.7%. So that's good. That indicates a broad-based rally. More of the types of stocks we like to trade, so that is a positive. So SPY is getting near all-time highs. IWM is getting close to remounting its 200-day moving average here. Again, positives for the market. Love the consolidation here. We'll look to get aggressive. Wanted to last week, but there just wasn't enough setting up for us to get aggressive here. Now, only position here is EWZ. I like what happened in EWZ Brazil yesterday. Again, we're in BRZU, the leveraged ETF, but tested that 50-day moving average and closed near the highs of the day, putting in this hammer. This is a positive. Now, hopefully this is kind of a springboard for it moving up when we get that late day buying. You can look at the intraday here. It was early in the day where it ramped down, and then the rest of the day just kept buying in here and closed near the highs. And we can look at BRZU. Same thing on the intraday. And if we look at the daily chart, again, tested that 50-day, which is not quite as significant for a leveraged ETF, but that hammer is, and tested it and closed near the high. So that's a positive. BRZU looking good. Now let's look at a couple of other sectors here. Energy, same thing. We got that nice hammer here, had the gap fill on Friday. The gap has filled, closed near the highs. Now this might be the springboard. So depending on the action today, I may look to enter ERX. Now I thought about some stocks specific to energy, but I think I'll get enough volatility here in the leveraged ETF. You know, if we enter here around 37.50, say, we could get a pretty quick move back up here to 40 and maybe a breakout. So I will be watching energy very closely. IWM, you know, if I enter one of the indexes, it will most likely be IWM instead of SPY because of the relative strength, and we can use TNA here. But I'll be looking for an entry signal, and then IBB, which looked like it was breaking down at one point, now has held its 50-day moving average really nicely here. Again, a lot of hammers on Friday. There was some intraday weakness that was bought in a lot of different sectors here, and IBB looking good. And maybe now it makes at least this run here to the 200-day moving average. And you can use BIB as your leveraged ETF there. So that's what I'm looking at it in terms of the indexes. So I'll be looking at energy, biotech, and Russell. So that'll be TNA, ERX, and BIB. Now let's go to the focus list. Some new stocks here. SLCA, nice bottoming formation, a volatile stock, has some short interest here, remounted its 50-day moving average. Now we'll be looking either for a pullback or a breakout of, say, 2075 here. So those will be the entry signals for SLCA. Facebook, nice breakout here on Thursday, pulled back on Friday. Now I'd like to see a test of this gap here. If we can get a test of this gap and it bounces here, I will look to enter Facebook. Fit had a negative earnings reaction here, but technically has still held the 50-day moving average. And on Friday, nice move here at the 50-day. So may look to enter Fit. CSTE, a bottoming formation, building material stock, a breakout over the 50-day moving average, now consolidating here. I'll look for a breakout over the intraday high here, which was about 42.42. So if it gets around 42.40, I'll look to enter. This could be a pre-breakout signal if it starts to base a little more here. So sometime this week, maybe that'll give us an entry. What else here? Wynn. Wynn, again, another one of these that had kind of a negative earnings reaction, pulled back, but now that's we can see it's right back up where it was before earnings and basing here. So I like Wynn a lot. There were some other casino stocks I liked better, but I like the recent price action now, and maybe this can be the springboard for it moving up and testing some of these open gaps here at 81, at 85. So this could be a nice mover here. So we'll be watching Wynn very closely. And one more, CSTM. Nice breakout here in an aluminum stock, and I will wait for some kind of consolidation. Tough to enter right now, but looking really good here. Now let's look at some of the earnings breakouts that are setting up. I'm not going to go through our entire earnings breakout list, just the ones I'm interested in going into the week here. LinkedIn broke out to 240. I was basing at 250, which is an important round number. And if we can get here, oftentimes you'll see a quick move from, say, 250 to 300 or 275. So I'll be watching this here, see how it handles at 250 level. If it can hold and stay up around maybe 252 for 253, I'll look to enter with a stop down here. Tree. Now this one's been kind of volatile here, but if it can get over this 127.50 level, that'll give us a good entry there. Habit. Breakout. Now pulled back into the gap and is holding. Now if it can close here above that hammer, that'll be a nice entry and kind of signal that that pullback is over. Netflix didn't have a big earnings reaction, but now holding over the 50-day, and we've got this clear level here where there was an open gap and a pivot level at one point. Now if it can get above 115, maybe it makes its run to, say, 125, which would give us a good 10 points there. Tesla, I'm looking for a good earnings breakout. Now I'm looking for a close again above the 200-day. We talked about this last week. And if it does that, I think it'll easily get above the 50-day, and then we could run all the way up to 270 here. Now, this is another one where maybe I take the pre-breakout kind of entry here, and then Baidu. Baidu was an earnings breakout, China stock, and we've been looking for a China play. A pullback here to the 200-day, which just crossed over, would give us a good entry. And we can see here the 50-day is starting to run up, which is a good point up, which is a good signal. Now some stocks that are, I call them stocks of interest. They could be longs or shorts, but I'm interested in them either way. One of our old favorites, Under Armour here, a big breakdown after earnings, has consolidated up to the 50-day. Now, either it's going to fail here, which it kind of did on Friday, put in an inverted hammer where the rest of the market was basically putting in hammers. But if it remounts the moving average, we go long. If it does not and it starts to fall down here, we can get short, and there's room all the way up down to 88. So if we get a close down here, say around 94, 95, that will give us a short signal. So a lot of these are stocks that can kind of go either way. Buffalo Wild Wings, now it's broke down on earnings, consolidating. If it closes at some point this week in the gap, it could at least get halfway into the gap. You'll see this a lot with these big gap downs, and then it'll move down. So we could play it to the long side for a good 10 points here. And then if it closes below, say, 150, that'll give us our signal for the downward move, and we can get short. CMG, same thing, although this is already ramped down, and we got to hammer in with the rest of the market. So maybe it bounces up here. AMBA has been a short play, but now it's really beaten down. And the character has changed a little bit. Some volume has come in. So maybe you could even take an early kind of shot here. But if it closes up here above 60, and by that time I think the 50-day moving average would be down here and it'd be close to a remount, maybe it makes a little move to the upside. And then again, if it closes below 50, that would be a short signal. So again, a number of these can go either way here. That's why they're stocks of interest, but we don't know the direction yet. Apple, if it fails the 200-day, it's a short, but looks like it looks good for a remount here. So I would be watching very closely for a remount in Apple. And then I think the high was around 135 before that earnings back earlier in the year. So if we get above there, we could get a good 13, 14, 15 points. And then a stock we haven't watched for in a while, PayPal, was moving nicely, has pulled back in now. Now let's see if this hammer holds here And if it ramps up here, you could play the close above the hammer, or you could wait for a move above this pivot level. So a lot of stuff to watch this week, a lot of nice looking setups, which have kind of emerged because the market is consolidating. So that's good. We'll look for a couple of entries this week again, and hopefully we can get more aggressive this week. So that's it for the trade report. I'll see you later.